We have been waiting for a OnePlus phone for about 3 years. Many phones with the OnePlus brand entered the market during this period, but as you know, they do not remind us of OnePlus at all. Of course, OnePlus 11 and tablet really managed to bring it back. But now the Nord 3 is no longer a mid-ranger, to finally we can see the real OnePlus in it. This is the OnePlus Nord 3 review, so let's do it. The specifications of OnePlus Nord 3 are very promising. 120Hz LTPO AMOLED display, Dimensity 9000 chipset with 12 or 16GB of LPDDR5 RAM, 50MP camera with the same sensor we saw on OnePlus 11, and 5000 mAh battery with 80W charger inside the box. So what about the price? $429. Well, it's got very interesting. Let's look at it in more detail. The design of the phone is a trend design in Chinese brands, and the cameras are placed in two large frames below each other with two flashlights, and back panel is glossy and fingerprint magnet in blue color. But I think it's a very clean design that I expected from OnePlus. Also, the 3-step alert slider is still here. Nord 3 is not a light and a small phone at all. Its size is 6.74 inches, bigger than many phones on the market. But the half-round frame and good weight blunts make it not uncomfortable to use. The screen of this phone has very thin bezels, and 90% of the front panel is the screen. And looking at it is a really wonderful feeling, especially at this price, which has a competitor like A54. It is very good to see that OnePlus has again focused on the elements that play a big role in the user experience. The back panel is covered with Gorilla Glass 5, but the frame is plastic. Also, Nord 3 has IP54 standard and is somewhat resistant to water and dust. Overall, the display is one of the biggest advantages of Nord 3. A 10-bit LTPO AMOLED display with a 120Hz refresh rate that supports HDR10+. Contrast, accuracy and depth of colors are excellent. Its brightness also reaches 1450 nits, and you will have no problem viewing content under sunlight. And considering its small bezels and price, it can be said to be perfect. The fingerprint sensor is optical and under the display, and its location and the speed are convenient. Nord 3 hardware is quite satisfactory for the price. Dimensity 9000 with 12 or 16GB of RAM and UFS 3.1 memory. Dimensity 9000 is on the same level as a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, but it has more stable performance due to the 4nm TSMC architecture. Everything in the user interface is very fast and it performs heavy tasks well. It has a relatively stable performance and there is no obvious drop in heavy usage. As for the software, Nord 3 comes with Android 13 and OxygenOS 13.1. See, this is not OxygenOS that we knew a few years ago. It can be said to be a personalized version of Realme UI or ColorOS. It's not the best, but it has good customization capabilities, the animations are smooth, and overall the user interface is not bad. I guess if OxygenOS had continued on its way, it would be something like a more colorful version of NothingOS, a very clean and minimal UI. The camera system of this phone includes a 50MP wide lens, an 8MP ultra-wide lens, and a 2MP macro lens, which is completely useless. The selfie camera is also 16MP. Photos from the main lens are 12.5MP by default. The photos have accurate but slightly saturated colors, they are free of noise, and dynamic range is suitable. The photos are slightly overprocessed and the sharpness in the corners of the subject is too much. In portrait photos, the subject is well exposed and separated from the background, and the blurring of the background is natural. The night mode cannot be turned off, but the night photos are fantastic. Wide dynamic range, accurate colors, good detail, and extremely low noise. Ultra-wide photos are a bit overprocessed like the main lens. The colors are a bit saturated, they have good detail, and the dynamic range is not bad. You can completely forget the macro lens of this phone. Low detail, visible noise, and colors that cannot be trusted. OnePlus was not a brand that just added the number of lenses. Anyway, The selfie camera does not have autofocus, the subject is well exposed, the colors are vivid, the dynamic range is good, but the photos are poor in detail. With the main lens, you can record 4K video at 60 frames per second with the help of OIS. The battery of this phone is 5000 mAh, like most phones, and it doesn't need to be charged for a full day in semi-heavy usage. But the important point is the 80-watt charger inside the box, which makes it only take half an hour to fully charge, which is a huge advantage in this price range, but it doesn't support wireless charging. It's logical because the more expensive OnePlus 11 also doesn't. The Nord 3S speakers are also stereo and have a relatively loud sound, and the bass and sound separation are also acceptable. I'm very happy that after a long time, OnePlus has provided what we've been wanting from OnePlus: a real flagship killer. The phone, despite the low price, has paid attention to the elements that improve the user experience the most, and OnePlus finally did it again. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, like it, and if you like my content, subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, see you next video.